The FBI has gained a key ally in its fight with Apple, Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates. He says the tech company should comply with the government and unlock a phone belonging to one of the San Bernardino shooters.
Charlie Rose spoke with Bill Gates.
What would you do if you were the executive? Would you do the same thing that Tim Cook has done?
I think they're saying, hey, as a society, we think this discussion of safeguards is important. I don't disagree with that. I think at the end of the day...
Nobody disagrees with that.
At the end of the day, we want a government that has visibility, and we trust it to use that visibility on our behalf.
Max Levchin, who you and I both know and admire, said that Apple, this is what I'm trying to get you to say, i.e. one side or the other, Apple should offer the FBI the exact data, but they should not offer them a master key.
Yeah, that would solve this particular case.
CNET senior editor Jeff Bakalar is here to talk about the continuing battle. Hey, Jeff, what's up?
How are you?
So explain Bill Gates' position on this case and how significant is his stance?
Bill Gates, it's just complicating things a little more, is it not? Bill Gates sort of comes in and says, hey, I think tech companies have a responsibility to cooperate with the FBI. And, I definitely think that philosophy has been honored in the sense of what Apple's been doing and how they've cooperated with the FBI up until now. Bill Gates is a very smart man. He has a long history of sort of existing in this, landscape. But I think at the end of the day, the details of this specific situation aren't necessarily something that he is completely keyed into. I think and I don't want to sort of butt heads with Bill Gates.
Yeah.
I understand where this guy's coming from. Like I said, brilliant guy. But it's tough. Everyone wants what's right for everybody. But the actual details and the concerns that erupt from something like this are really tough to encapsulate in sort of a little conversation.
Yeah.
It's the fallout is potentially much greater than what is on the surface.
Yeah. Well, can we talk a little bit about the technology?
Yeah, for sure.
Because Apple says, look, you're asking us to create this universal backdoor. It could possibly be used over and over again.
Right.
The FBI is saying, no. We just want something specific for this one phone. Is that a possibility? Can you create a backdoor that's only for one phone? Explain it to us.
So Apple says no, and it's kind of, you kind of have to take both sides of this story because both parties are saying something that conflicts, right? Apple's saying they want us to make this universal backdoor, and the FBI is saying, well, no, that's not what we want. We just want this one-time situation. Common sense would probably lean towards Apple. They know their hardware. They know what's going on. If they say that this is not, in fact, what the FBI is asking us to do, we kind of have to take their word for it. It sounds like from what they want, this is a different situation than what they've been asked to do in the past. Let's not forget, the Apple software has evolved over the last decade to the point where this is a constantly changing firmware situation where security gets more intense, encryption doubles and just sort of gets to this exponential level where you have a situation where it's not something as cut and dry as saying, okay, we'll do this one time. Apple's claiming this is something that cannot happen.
So to that point, Jeff, a New York Times op-ed out today points out that, as you say, that Apple has in the past helped law enforcement. But is that because the technology has changed so dramatically in the ensuing years that they are not able to do that now?
Yeah, the sentiment around that is that was a different time. It was a lower level sort of access. Apple claims that situation is different because they wanted a less sort of universal solution to the problem. There's Apple saying that was in the past. The iOS software has changed dramatically since then, and now this is something way different than a sort of low-level, key situation. This is what they claim to be a universal backdoor exploit.
Well, I think that others have argued that something else that has changed over time is the way we feel about our privacy.
Sure.
We've been throwing up a statistic here that's talking about sort of the court of public opinion. According to the polls, the nation is pretty much split with a slight majority favoring the FBI and the request that they're making. But some, have argued that Apple, like you said, in the past has been cooperative with authorities and only started to shift their opinion when we started to talk more about privacy and technology with the emergence of Edward Snowden, and people started to really value their privacy. How much do you think the court of public opinion and how people feel about Apple, how consumers feel about Apple, how much do you think that's informing their decision to sort of push back against the FBI?
It definitely is informing their position. I mean, after the Snowden situation, people fundamentally changed the way they searched on Google. Like, that was a noticeable tipping point where people said, okay, I could be being watched. Like, I could be watched in no matter what I'm doing on the internet. And it's a valid concern. I think, if anything, this situation is allowing people to educate themselves more about this pretty complex situation. And for me, that's important. I mean, you know, you can read headlines, you can listen to, but until you really understand what exactly is happening and what's at stake, I think people are better able to make an informed sort of opinion on what's going on. But yeah, this is something that is not cut and dry. There's a lot of controversy over what's going on. A lot of people are pointing and saying, hey, this is a business decision that Apple's making. They're protecting their user base. They're protecting, you know, their roadmap down the line. And sure, you can definitely make that argument, but I think at the end of the day, it's really a situation where you're potentially protecting millions and millions of people's privacy, and that is found through their security measures.